you so much for clicking on this video. My name's Olivia and I'm a gender affirming voice teacher. And if you are in the process of taking exogenous testosterone, this video is for you. So navigating the vocal changes that come along with exogenous testosterone, it can be really exciting, but it can also be nerve-wracking, especially depending on what your goals are around everything, but around your voice specifically. So in this video, I'm going to be answering some common questions about exogenous testosterone as it relates to the voice. So we're going to talk a little bit about the timeline in terms of voice change, the permanence of these changes, and how it can affect your singing voice if that's something that you are working on as well. So if you are just thinking about taking tea, or if you have already begun the process, I'm going to be sharing some practical answers with you so that you can kind of go into this process with a little bit more information. So let's get started. So the first question is, how long will it take for my voice to get lower once I start taking exogenous testosterone? Voice changes with exogenous testosterone will vary based on the person, but in general, you'll start to hear and feel changes around the 3 to 6 month mark. So the initial changes can be subtle. You might notice that actually you might have a little bit less of your top range before you really start to feel your low range coming in. But then after about 6 months to a year, that deepening of the voice gets a lot more noticeable. The timeline can be very different, however, for different people. Obviously we have different genetic backgrounds, so each person might respond differently to the testosterone. So the dosage you're on can affect how quickly you hear these changes, and then the method of administration can alter that as well. So generally, we think that higher dosage of testosterone is going to cause a quicker deepening of the voice versus a lower dose over a longer period of time. But of course, that can still be different for different people. That's not necessarily set in stone. And then of course, the way that you take tea can also alter how you experience those changes as well. So full voice changes can take up to like 2 years for your voice to stabilize. And it's important to remember that what's happening is that your vocal cords are growing. So during that growth period, you might have some growing pains. You might have some vocal instability throughout that time, maybe voice cracking or feeling hoarse in your voice. And it's also possible that when you take tea, you might not have as much lowering of the pitch as you want, or you might not have much lowering at all. That's all possible. So everybody, responds to tea differently, but in general, we think that 3 to 6 month mark is when you start to hear changes. 6 months to a year is when you really start to hear changes generally. And within 2 years is really where we get more of that stabilization. So the next question is, will testosterone change my ability to sing? So the answer to that is yes, it can change your ability to sing, in that we know that there's this long period of instability, up to 2 years of feeling unstable in the voice, which can feel different and feel challenging. We also know that there's a good chance that your voice will get lower and that your pitch, you might lose some of the pitches in your top range. So as that pitch shift happens, it can also give you a little bit more of what we describe as a break in the voice in between your registers. So in between your chest register and your head register, you might experience more of a gap or big, moment of cracking or instability in between your high voice and your low voice. Additionally, that high voice, your head voice, can feel a little bit lighter, a little bit flutier, a little bit less strong as you continue taking tea. So I would say a really important thing if you are a singer going through this process is to work with a teacher and to continue singing through this process, to continue to work on exercises, even if it feels a little unstable, to get to know your new voice. So using exercises can help to stabilize the voice and help to perhaps keep some of the register in your high range, and help to really find richness in your low notes as well. And then of course we want to continue to work on bridging that gap between the chest voice and the head voice. So with training, many people who have gone through testosterone therapy have been able to maintain their singing voices and sing successfully and beautifully. So it's definitely possible to continue working on your voice through this transition and come out with a voice that you really love. So the next question is, how can I minimize vocal changes on testosterone? So not every person is going to have the same goals when it comes to going on T. So some people might go on T specifically to help with vocal dysphoria and lower their voices. Others might not necessarily want to change their voice, but that's, that testosterone does alter the voice. So that's something that comes with it. Maybe you're looking for the other things that going on testosterone gives you, the body changes and the psychological changes. Maybe that's really important to you, and this voice piece is something that has to come along with it. So there are steps, things to think about to sort of minimize the impact of testosterone on the voice. So first, as I mentioned, working with a voice teacher, with a voice coach, to continue using exercises throughout the process of the vocal change. You don't want to just stop using your voice, because your voice then in 2 years, if you start using your voice again, your voice is going to be like, wait, now I don't know how to use this new instrument. So you have to kind of continue to work through this new instrument as it changes. Working with exercises like semi-occluded vocal tract exercises, which are going to be really gentle and easy on the voice. This is going to be a really great way to work on bridging the gap between the registers and work on maintaining your head voice. All of those things that are really important for the voice during this time. Another really important thing is to really keep the vocal cords hydrated. So that just means drinking a ton of water, making sure that you're staying hydrated. The more you can keep your cords kind of lubricated and easy to vibrate together, the more you're going to set yourself up for success. Another thing that you can think about, you can talk to your doctor about this, is thinking about your dosage. So there have been studies based on, taking a lower dosage versus a higher dosage, and sort of that gradual shift. So if that's something that is interesting to you, definitely talk to your doctor about potentially using a lower dose of testosterone over the course of a longer period of time rather than taking a higher dose more quickly. And I'm not a doctor, so don't listen to me. But I think it's definitely worth talking to your doctor about the options and making sure that you share with them what your concerns are about your voice, and making sure that they know everything that's important to you so that they can factor all those things in. Next question is, when will my voice stop changing on testosterone? So we touched on this briefly, that basically after around the 2-year point, that is when your voice will start to stabilize and will kind of stop continuing to change. So you won't get more of that deepening or lowering of the pitch. You won't continue to lose your high register, but you'll kind of be in this more stable place with your voice. So some small adjustments can continue to happen, of course, but once your vocal cords have kind of thickened and plateaued and found where they want to be, it's going to kind of stop there. The last question is, if I quit taking testosterone, will my voice get higher? So the answer to this question is no. So once you take testosterone, the changes to the vocal cords are permanent. The stopping testosterone won't reverse those effects, those thickening and lengthening effects of the testosterone. Much like a cis man or somebody who's assigned male at birth, after they go through a natural puberty, testosterone puberty, they're not able to change their voice using any other hormone therapy. Once that testosterone has lengthened the vocal cords, they're going to stay that way. So understanding the impact of testosterone therapy on your voice, I think is really important as you go into this process of taking tea. I think it's just really important to know, what you're getting into, making sure that you know what to expect so that you're not surprised by anything that comes up. Of course, this journey is going to be different for different people based on, your medical history, based on a variety of factors. But with a little knowledge in your back pocket, you can definitely make this process a little bit easier on yourself depending on what your goals are. So definitely be proactive with your doctor, with a teacher, if you're interested in working with me throughout this process. I have a link down in the description. You can click that and sign up for a consultation with me. I'd love to work with you. But I think it's just really important that you are an advocate for yourself and that you reach out for help when you need it. So please write any questions that you have down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video.